We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
He's gone from here. The evil is gone.
What can I say? I'm a blast from the past. Should have stayed there.
Come with me if you want to live.
Welcome to Big Lip Radio presents No Girls Allowed, the movie review podcast. From new movies to retro reviews, we promise that we will never talk about chick flicks. Here's your host, Jerad.
All right, welcome everybody to Big Lip Radio presents No Girls Allowed. And today is Monday, September 4th. It is Labor Day, the official end of summer, end of the summer movie blockbuster season. And just kind of a bummer for most of us. So anyway, it's been a couple of weeks since we did one of these. For those of you wondering, my ankle hasn't healed yet. And yeah, so I'm still hobbling around, and it's been I'm going on week 4. I'm 3.5 weeks right now. I'm going on week 4, and yeah, still hurting, still trying to get around. And today, what we're going to talk about is I've got a review of Burger King's new Rodeo burger. And I know I cuss and swear about Burger King every other podcast, but today's going to be different. I just feel it in my bones. Also, we're going to be doing a retro review of Halloween 3 from the original Halloween series. But before we get to any of that, let's talk about Ric Flair. Ric Flair just put a video on his Twitter and his Facebook talking about all the support that he received and thanking everybody and saying he's coming back very, very, very soon. So looks like Ric Flair's going to live. That's a good thing. And also, before we get on with anything, this Friday was Force Friday. If any of you are familiar with Star Wars, you know that they put out their toys well in advance of the movies because they know they're going to make more money off the merchandising than they do the movies, which is why you pay George Lucas $4.2 billion for his film franchise. And this year's no exception. The Last Jedi comes out December 15th of 2017 of this year. And the toys went on sale collectibles went on sale Friday. And it was a big thing. They had this alternate reality thing that they were doing, augmented reality that they were doing. You get the Star Wars app, and if you look on my Twitter, I posted a picture or two. And you get the Star Wars app, and you go to these standees that they've got in the stores that have the pictures on them, and they've got Find the Force emblem on it. Then you take and hold your phone up to the emblem, and a character from the movie appears. And it worked pretty good, about as well as the Pokemon augmented reality worked. And if you remember, we all shut that off within the first 3 days and then quit playing it within the first week. But this is just for 3 days and a new character each day at each location, and for a total of 15 characters, and I probably got around 6 of them in my phone. So anyway, they come out with their Last Jedi stuff, and as far as I can tell, there's 11 3 3/4-inch action figures in the first wave, of which I have 10. They're over on the wall behind me. And, Luke Skywalker, of course, you got to get Luke. Finally, they're making a new Luke Skywalker figure. I don't know why they never made one for The Force Awakens, but they did not. So I got Luke and Rey and Poe. I've got Kylo Ren. The new chick Rose, the other new chick Paige. I wonder where the new dudes are. Anyway, I got Finn. I got all of them except for C-3PO that I'm aware of that they made. And they may have made more than 11. But as far as I know, it's 11, and I have 10 of the 11. Now, if you're someone who's into the Black Series and you like the 6-inch figures, I don't know about your neighborhood, but I do know all weekend I've stuck my head out and went to Walmart, Target, see what's going on. The 6-inch Black Series is flying off the shelves. I've got Luke Skywalker, and I've got Darth Vader from Rogue One / New Hope. in the 6-inch line. My wife likes to make sure I get those. I think she's more smitten with the 6-inch figures than anything else. And we'll keep the smart-ass comments to a minimum. So anyway, she likes the 6 inches. And so anyway, I got the 2 that I wanted. They also have Hera from Rebels. That was also released as part of Force Friday. And they did her up as if she was from the movie instead of doing her animated style. And it looks really cool, and I might end up grabbing that one, assuming I can I can find it. Because like I said, those went like hotcakes. And they got $60 statues that light up. Darth Vader cutting through the door of the Tantive 4, and they got Luke Skywalker standing on the foot of a fallen AT-AT. And you just see the foot and him standing on the foot. It's a lighted sculpture. $60. Kylo Ren's TIE fighter called the Silencer. The package in the store doesn't reveal anything, but I've seen online, and I don't know if it's a mock-up, but I've seen online a picture of the package for the Silencer that shows the Silencer taking off with a Death Star in the background. So I don't know if somebody just mocked that up to get people excited and talking, or if there's some box art out there that gives away a third Death Star. Would they create a third Death Star? I don't know. Star Wars isn't known for its originality, and that certainly isn't why I'm into it. But it's not known for their originality, and I guess it's not out of the question that they develop a third Death Star. However, I'm officially saying it's a hoax. And but anyway, go out there, get all that Star Wars stuff, so they'll keep making it, so I can keep buying it. And I spent a couple $100 this weekend, and hopefully it was worth it. I always enjoy it. It's always a lot of fun. All right, let's move on. Burger King. I know I rail about Burger King a lot, and they put out a new sandwich. They put out a Rodeo King.
Can you eat the new Rodeo King with one hand?
Guy
with a half pound of beef, bacon, and 6 onion rings topped with barbecue sauce, it's the new Rodeo King, only at Burger King.
Trying to eat the Rodeo King while he's on a mechanical bull. So he's got one hand holding on to the mechanical bull, the other one holding on to this sandwich. And also, something they weren't advertising, or I haven't seen the advertisement for it, Cheesy Tots. And I don't know about you, but I like cheese and potatoes. So, you know, what's to lose? Now, I tried these yesterday, and I went to a Burger King on Gilbert Road and Juniper, if you're familiar with Gilbert Mesa area in Arizona. And it's not one I usually go to. I go into this restaurant, and it is pristine. It is clean. It is sparkly. They don't have one of those freestyle soda machines, but, you know, you can't have everything. The soda area is neat, tidy, clean. I've never seen anything so clean. And I went up there and I ordered my burger, and I saw those Cheesy Tots on the menu board. I said, give me the Cheesy Tots and give me a large soda. And first, let's talk about the burger. This thing is huge. I didn't even eat all of it. And not because it wasn't good. It is very good. Now, Carl's Jr. in my mind has got the Western burger thing all sewn up. And anytime I want a Western burger, I go to Carl's Jr., and anytime I'm with friends who go to Carl's Jr. and we're there, that's what I get is the Western burger. This is almost, but not quite as good as Carl's Jr.'s fabulous Western burger. The onion rings are a bit of a disappointment because it is the cheap kind of Burger King onion rings. It's not real onion rings. So that's a bummer. And but overall, out of 5, I give it a solid 4. Carl's Jr., for comparison, I give a 4.5. Big Mac is a 5. We all know it's a Big Mac. Watch my video. So anyway, the Cheesy Tots. Cheesy Tots are really, really good. They're about the size of a tater tot. The potato inside of them is almost like a mashed potato. It's like a breaded mashed potato with a couple of very small ribbons of cheese running through them. If I had a complaint about them, first of all, it's fair food. It is food you'd find at a carnival. It can't be good for you. It is really delicious, but there's not enough cheese in them. they'd get a 4.5 with a touch more cheese, but I can't bag too much on mashed potatoes. It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world. So it's a solid 4. So Burger King finally comes through.
That is the weirdest thing you have ever said.
I know, but they finally come through. So anyway, let's move on. Halloween 3.
Season of the Witch, the night no one comes home.
The night no one comes home.
You don't really know much about Halloween. Halloween, the barriers will be down between the real and the unreal. And the dead might be looking in. The last great one took place 3,000 years ago when the hills ran red. Halloween, the children.
You happen to know anything about this Cochran?
All I can tell you, mister, is watch out. He's watching you, friend, I guarantee you that.
Trick or treat, trick or treat.
Hey, Mr. Cochran, just what is the final process?
Fellas, I was just kidding.
Witchcraft. To us, it was a way of controlling our environment.
Hey!
Where are they taking her?
They're taking her to the factory.
I want a mask. Can I have a mask?
You've got to love the music and the stingers.
Why, Cocker? Why?
So cool.
Do I need a reason?
I've got nothing here to indicate there was ever a body at all.
Operator, this is an emergency.
I do love a good joke, and this is the best ever. A joke on the children. I'm glad you'll be able to watch it.
You've got to believe me!
They're going to kill us. All of us.
Stop it!
Halloween. The world's going to change tonight, Doctor. Happy Halloween.
Stop it!
Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, the night no one comes home.
All right, this movie is largely regarded as the black sheep of the Halloween series. Time has been kind to it. When it first came out, everybody hated it because we all thought Michael Myers was going to be in it, and I'm one of those guys. I was excited to see it, and when I finally saw it, I was horribly disappointed. I kept waiting. Where's Michael Myers? And when you're a kid, this came out in 1982. So when you're a kid, you don't think about things like the fact that the movie, the original Halloween, is playing in the bar where the doctor's at, trying to use the phone. So this has nothing to do with Michael Myers. Otherwise, the first movie wouldn't have been a movie. So anyway, you don't think about that stuff. But this movie is directed by Tommy Lee Wallace and produced by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. They were married at this time. Written by Tommy Lee Wallace and uncredited John Carpenter. Let's see. It was distributed by Universal Pictures. The release date was October 22nd, 1982. So it came out a week before Halloween on 1982. The running time is 98 minutes. The budget was $2.5 million. It didn't cost a lot to make this movie, and it shows the box office $14 million. Now, this is the lowest grossing Halloween of the entire bunch. And I'm going to go on record right now and tell you it's not the worst of the series. If you haven't seen this movie since it first came out or around that time, or you just watched it as part of a series and was expecting Michael Myers being there, and disappointment clouded your judgment, I'm telling you to go watch this movie again. It's not near as bad as I had originally thought. Not a lot of characters in this. Tom Atkins plays Dr. Daniel Chalice, and I don't know why a middle-aged doctor with a clear drinking problem is such a sex object, but all the chicks in this movie go crazy for him. Stacey Nelkin plays Ellie Grimbridge, and she was on Chips. If you go all the way back, she was on Chips. She was on The Waltons. There was a couple of TV shows from the 70s that she was in. And Dan O'Haraly, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, is Colonel Cochran. And that's the main bad guy. You'll remember him from RoboCop. He was the CEO of OCP. And so, interesting to note that he was the main bad guy in RoboCop 2. Okay, so what was this movie about? How horrible was the premise? Well, the premise was horrible. It was a horror movie in the early 80s, and it's not any better than any other horror movie in the early 80s. On October 23rd, shop owner Harry Grimbridge runs along a barren road in Northern California, chased by mysterious figures in business suits. He makes it to a gas station, clutching a silver shamrock jack-o'-lantern mask. He's driven to the hospital by station attendant Walter Jones, all while rambling, "They're going to kill us all." At the hospital, Grimbridge is placed in the care of Dr. Dan Chalice, who's the Tom Atkins character. That night, another mysterious man in a suit enters Grimbridge's hotel room, kills him, goes to his car, and the car blows up. Boom. Explodes. The next morning, Grimbridge's daughter, Ellie, arrives to identify her father's remains. Ellie and Chalice agree to investigate his murder, leading them to the small town of Santa Mira, California. The hotel manager, now if you're sharp-eyed, you'll know that the hotel that they stay at, as long as that whole street, that whole storefront, is the exact same storefront that in Halloween 2, the nurse is going to her Mustang, and her friend's like, "Oh, you got to give me a ride home." And she's like, "I can't. I'm already late." So anyway, that is the same street and everything. It's kind of a cool little connection there that has nothing to do with anything other than just kind of an Easter egg. Let's see. The hotel manager explains that Colonel Cochran and his company, Silver Shamrock Novelties, which produces wildly popular latex masks for Halloween, are responsible for the town's prosperity. It's like this corporation owns the entire town. Let's see. While signing in at the motel register, that you used to have to do that back in the day. You used to have to. It was the day before the internet and credit cards, and when you went to a hotel room, you used to have to show them your ID and sign in to register. That way, if you caused any trouble, you couldn't say, "I don't know, I didn't stay here." Let's see, where are we at? Let's see. All right, while signing in to the hotel register, Chalice learns that Grimbridge stayed at the same hotel. Other hotel guests include shop owners Marge Gutman and Buddy Kupfer, Buddy's wife Betty, and their son Little Buddy, all of who owns businesses at the company's factories. They're salespeople, retail outlets. Gutman finds a microchip in the back of a silver shamrock button and is electrocuted after poking it with a hairpin. Chalice and Ellie learn of Gutman's accident, and Chalice attempts to help but is forced out of the way by a group of men dressed in lab coats who drive away in a van with Marge's body. That's her name, Marge Gutman. The next morning, Chalice and Ellie enter a tour of the factory with the Kefers and discover Grimbridge's car there, guarded by more men dressed in suits. They return to the motel, but cannot contact anyone outside the town. While Chalice attempts to phone for the authorities, Ellie is kidnapped by the men in suits and driven to the factory. Chalice pursues them, breaks into the factory, and discovers that the men in suits are androids created by Cochran. Now, isn't it funny how back in the day, everybody thought that androids would immediately be super powerful, like the $6 Million Man. Who knew his bionic arm? Why would we believe his bionic arm would be so strong? I don't know, but we did. Now you look at C-3PO. Who doesn't think they couldn't beat the hell out of C-3PO? I mean, he's a robot. So anyway, where are we at? Chalice is captured by the androids, and Cochrane reveals his plan to sacrifice children wearing his masks, thus bringing about a resurrection of the ancient age of witchcraft. The masks contain microchips, each containing a fragment of Stonehenge that, when activated by a signal in a company commercial, summon a swarm of insects and snakes to kill the mask wearer and everybody nearby. To demonstrate, Cochrane kills the Kupfers this way. So anyway, if you know anything about this movie, there is a commercial that plays all throughout the movie for these masks. And I don't know why these masks are so popular. You got a skeleton, a jack-o'-lantern, and a witch. They don't look like anything special. And not only that, these masks are so wildly popular that people like dressed as ghosts or vampires or anything still have to have one of these masks. Everybody's wearing a mask, whether they're actual skeleton or a vampire. Everybody's wearing some kind of a mask. But here is the music for the commercial in the movie that plays 1,000 times. It'll get stuck in your head. I'm going to try to stick it in your head right now.
Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
It's almost time, kids. The clock is ticking. Be in front of your TV sets for the Horathon. And remember the big giveaway at 9. Don't miss it. And don't forget to wear your masks. The clock is ticking. It's almost time.
Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy
Who has time? Who has the money to advertise a commercial like this? It's like a 2-minute commercial.
Halloween, happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
Before this, after only having seen it one time, I always thought they said Super Shamrock, but they say Silver Shamrock. It'll get stuck in your head. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the song. All right. So after Cochrane kills his top salespeople just to show Chalice how this thing works, Chalice escapes through the ventilation shaft and rescues Ellie. He dumps the chip from the overhead rafters and activates their signal with the commercial, killing Cochrane and his employees and destroying the computer chips and the factory. As the two drive away, Ellie attacks Chalice, revealing that Cochrane replaced the real Ellie with an android duplicate. Chalice crashes the vehicle and decapitates the android with a tire iron. On foot, Chalice makes it to the gas station and phones the television stations in an attempt to convince the station managers not to air the Silver Shamrock commercial. Here's how that sounded like. He's running.
Your phone, where's it's life and death?
Hey, don't I know you?
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween.
The commercial's already started.
Means the death of millions of people, everyone watching. Don't you understand?
So he's on the phone with the TV stations.
Well, say it's a bomb, then say whatever you want. Say whatever you like, just get it off the air. Please, you just... No, I can't prove it. You've got to believe me. Believe me. Take it off the air now, please. You've got to. It makes sense.
Excuse the interruption. We're having technical problems.
Aha, they took it off one station.
It's time.
Kid in the mask turns it to the other channel.
We are experiencing technical difficulties.
Oop, they took it off that station.
frog masks.
But he puts it on the third channel.
TV set. Put on your masks and watch. All witches, all skeletons, all jack-o'-lanterns.
The third commercial, it's still on, please. Take off the third channel, it's still running. Stop it, please, for God's sake, please stop it. There's no more time. You've got to, please, stop it now, turn it off, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it!
And it's too late. Everybody dies. That's how it ends. He's unable to get that third station to not broadcast that commercial. Now, this is also back in the day, prior to the internet and prior to cable TV for most of us. There were only 3 stations. You had ABC, NBC, and CBS. You didn't even have Fox or UPN or CW. You didn't have any of those, just those 3 stations and your local independent station. And he got it off of 2 out of 3, so we're left to wonder how bad the damage was, how many children were killed, and kind of a grim, you're killing children, but we're left to wonder because the film ends right there. And that's it. That's Halloween 3. It's really not a horrible film. I would give it out of the usual 5, I'll give it a 2.5, which is a fairly neutral score. And I'm sure if I saw it a couple of more times, I might bump it up another half. But it's not bad. It's enjoyable. If you're into the early 80s horror, you're gonna like it. When I sit down and watch all my Michael Myers films, all my Halloween films, I'll probably skip from 2 to 4 because, spoiler alert, Halloween 4, Michael Myers does come back. And because the producers are the ones in charge, and they realized Halloween 3 produced no money, so they want to go back and have Michael Myers as the main bad guy and make the money again. And that's it. So go watch it. It's not horrible. And next week we're gonna close out with the theme of Star Wars. Because it has been a Star Wars weekend. All that stuff came out Friday at midnight. Dude, Thursday, midnight, I set my alarm. I get up. I go down to Walmart. They've got nothing out. I'm like, hey, where's your Star Wars stuff? Got my Star Wars shirt on. I'm ready to go. I know. I'm a 49-year-old man. That's fine. It's fine. Kiss my ass. It's still something we can do. So anyway, there are other people hiding in the background and not saying anything. So finally, after talking to a few people, we realized, oh, there's like 4 pallets of the stuff in the back. Let's load them out. So they did. There were no 3 3/4 inch action figures. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. How is there? So anyway, one of the people who was there just came from Target. And they said, look, Target stayed open. And they opened at midnight. Don't know how long they're going to be open. I said, all right. So I'm going to burn through there. So I jump in the car and haul ass down to Target. Just 15 minutes left. So I was able to get in, get some stuff, go back home finally about 2:30 and get some sleep. And it was a pain in the ass because I had to work. You know, I got to be to work by 6. This is crap. So anyway, that's how Force Friday went, but the rest of the weekend went really good. I did a bunch of the augmented reality stuff. It's good stuff. Had a lot of fun. Hopefully everybody had a lot of fun. And over the weekend, I ended up watching The Force Awakens, Star Wars Episode 7, and Rogue One. So I did watch 2 Star Wars movies over this long weekend, inspired by the toys and the collectibles and all that other stuff. It was good. Next week, we will be back. We might do Halloween 4, but as of right now, Stephen King's It opens next week. And I don't want to wait 4 or 6 weeks to review that movie when it comes out. So I'll probably break into the Halloween. And instead of doing Halloween 4, if we see the movie next week, and it's pretty certain I'm going to see it next week, I'm going to have a review of Stephen King's It, the weekend it comes out. I've read the book. I don't know, 16 when I read it. I was pretty young when I read it. And I've seen the original TV miniseries with John Ritter and that guy from Night Court in it. And so I feel like I'm pretty well versed to review this movie right off the bat. If I have time, who knows, maybe I'll see the TV version again beforehand so I can directly compare. One thing's certain, I won't be able to read that book. It's like 3 million pages. The people who wrote the Bible said, look, I'm not reading this book. It is too long. So anyway, next week we're going to be back probably with a review of it. And till then, thank you guys very much for your time.
They you at the drive-thru.